G'day everyone, Viv here. I hope you're all keeping well. Welcome back. I'm in my studio at home. It's time to edit a video. The last few months haven't been fantastically good for me. COVID and homeschooling, fucking everything's grim. But it's time to start getting on with some projects. So this project hasn't been finished yet, but I thought I'll sit down, put on some YouTube and start editing what I do have and hopefully get this ball rolling again and get out of the funk that I've been wallowing in. I wanted to paint up some of the Sci-fi density kits that are available in our Terminus Australis range, and I'll link those in the description below. But I wanted to do a very quick, simple job, so I haven't started with the black primer. I used some of these MTN94 paints and sprayed straight over the raw MDF with this Amazon green color. The coverage of these paints is so good, I'm really impressed with them. I haven't let anything dry here. I've gone straight over that first color with this era green. Now the swatch isn't really representative of the color, but you can see that on the top of the paint can there. Just concentrating on a 45-degree angle, trying to pick up edges, trying to add sort of a mid-tone color here. I've left this footage in real time just so we can see how quickly this did take. This whole model probably took less than 10 minutes to do all these very simple base coats. You could spend a lot longer, and I do, try to do some various different sorts of techniques, which we'll see shortly. But I kept this as a real-time footage, again, just so you can see, how quickly, just a little bit of spraying with some spray cans can result in, a relatively good-looking model. With this neon green color, again, I'm very lightly dusting the model. I'm just trying to add some accents here, and at one point I do end up using the spray can pretty much vertically just to spray down on the corners and the edges to give a little bit of pop to the model. And with one last poke on the corner there, we're done. Give it a quick spray with a hairdryer, and at this stage, I'd call this table ready. There's obviously lots you could do to this, but I think on the table, it's kind of looking okay. If we did spend a little bit of time trying to pick out some of all the line work, the scoring, and maybe introduced a couple of contrasting colors, then you'd have a really good looking set. I wasn't happy with how they looked on the tabletop, and as I mentioned, there's loads you could do to make these look amazing. So I grabbed some of this Spice of Life. This is from British Paints, which I grabbed from the paint department at Bunnings. And with the large makeup brush, which make wonderful dry brushes, I went ahead and tried to pick out the corners and the edges. Being an MDF model, these have really sharp corners and sharp edges, which are perfect for grabbing these really extreme highlights. It's almost kind of like doing an edge highlight on a miniature. You can see just how much of a difference just this step makes to the base model with the 3 greens on it, and then this Spice of Life dry brushed on it. Armed with this technique, I went through and put on some Stargate, some SG1, as you should when you are making and painting terrain, and dry brushed all of the models with this Spice of Life. Well, there was a lot. I had quite a lot of these models sitting around. Some of these were prototypes, and I just wanted to get them painted. So again, that was part of the reason why I wanted to do a very quick paint job on them. I find when I'm dry brushing, I quite often will rub the brush on the back of my hand just to help remove excess paint and to give me a feel a little bit for what the brush is actually going to do on the model. Overall, the set's not looking too bad. Very quick, very simple, very easy paint job, and with very little effort and very little time, I've got a table ready set of terrain. It could use more work, and I do go ahead and try a few more things. I have no plan here at this stage. I've got no idea what I'm doing, but I'm going to try and mix some of this iridescent medium, some flow medium, and some of that Spice of Life paint together to kind of hopefully make some kind of, metallic wash almost that I can drip into the scoring and the etching on these models. I've never used this iridescent medium from Liquitex before. I just stumbled across it one day when I was in Spotlight shopping for some fabric, and I thought, look, I'll grab some, I'll give it a try. And for this project, I thought, why not? Despite me actually having a syringe, I'm not measuring out anything, I'm just pouring stuff into that stupid cup and, just gonna have a crack. You don't learn anything if you don't try. And I learned that I've got no idea what I'm doing, and you'll see in a moment it was a massive, massive failure. Whilst I do say that it was a massive failure, that's probably because I've got very little patience. I did think for some reason it would be a good idea to spray the model first with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol and some water 50-50, just to help break the surface tension on the model. It kind of helped. It kind of didn't. It probably is not a necessary step. I'm very carefully trying to, almost pin wash the model here with this gigantic brush. It's got a very nice tip on it, but I figured if I have a big well in the brush, then it's going to be able to suck up a lot of that paint and drop it in there. I do get frustrated around this point, and I'm just start lathering the paint on there and trying to wipe it off with the tissue in my finger. It's becoming incredibly frustrating, and whilst the effect is there, that metallic color certainly hasn't come through, and the wash or the paint, whatever we want to call it, isn't flowing very well. So I figure, why not? We'll go ahead and add some more water to this. That'll be a great idea. After adding some more water, nothing really has changed. All I've done is, water down the pigments even more. I had hoped that, sort of like I had hoped that the paint would run, by itself through, capillary action into the scoring line and, fill it up. But that doesn't seem to be happening, and I'm just trying to be careful to drop this paint, this wash, this substance into the score line, and it's kind of working. It's just a slow, tedious process, and not something that I'm really capable of doing for any sort of extended period of time. I finish a few of the models and lose my patience. I tell myself I'll come back to this at some stage. I'm happy with where they are at the moment. Maybe I'll come back in a week or two. That never happened. These models have been sitting around now for months and months and months like this, but overall they still look pretty good. I would want to come back and add a contrasting color. I'm not sure how keen I am to do a whole bunch of that pin washing, but we'll see. Maybe the motivation or inspiration strikes me and I might get on with that. But in the meantime, this set looks pretty good as it is. I love these kits, the Sci-fi Dynasty in the Terminus Australis range. They're incredibly versatile, great fun to play with. You can have so many different sorts of configurations and layouts, and if you weren't like me and you had a little bit more patience and you could spend a little bit more time painting your models, the set would look absolutely fantastic. So I think I will come back at some stage and add a contrasting color, maybe a black or a gray, maybe even something like a blue or a purple, I'm not sure. But it was a fun project to work on. If I do get the inspiration to finish that, pin washing, I think the set would look amazing with that contrasting color. I think it really needs that. But in the meantime, I might go shave my beard after looking back through that footage. My COVID beard is going strong, and I think maybe shaving this off might help pull me out of that funk a little bit more, as well as going through about 20 project folders with gigabytes and gigabytes and gigabytes of footage in there and try and cobble something more together and, just get this ball rolling on. I hope everyone out there is keeping safe and well. It's difficult times for everyone everywhere, but let's march forward and, have fun with our toy soldiers. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you soon. See ya.